Welcome to Amanda Hall's Psychic Mini Workshop Series here on Facebook Live each Wednesday morning on the Gold Coast here in Australia. It's a beautiful day here on the coast at the moment. For some people say it mightn't be so beautiful. It's overcast and it's gently raining. But for us that have had a very long, hot summer, it's a nice welcome change to see the rain and sort of everything to get a drink and things to just sort of cool down a little bit and sort of everybody can catch their breath. I am a summer person, so I will be sad to see summer finish and the cooler months come in because I particularly don't like the cold weather. I like the warmth, and that seems to sort of keep me moving at a faster pace, and I'm a fairly high octane sort of person. So it's really exciting this time of the year for me because we are out now in the astrological new start of the new year for us astrology people, because the sun has moved into Aries, and it's very exciting. The sun actually moved in on the 22nd of last month, but it's still, you know, very, very early days in the Aries energy, and it's exciting time of the year because it means that we all get up off the couch, we all get a little bit more motivated, we all sort of start to feel as if we've got this renewed energy. You know, all of a sudden a surge of adrenaline pumps through us and we sort of get motivated and excited and feel like we're running out of time and we've got to get everything done yesterday and we've got to keep moving, and it's a very high octane time of the world. So it's, you know, enjoy the Aries time. So for those of you that are new to the show, my name's Amanda Hall Psychic. We've been doing these little mini workshops here on Wednesdays here on Facebook Live. This is episode number 58, so we've been going over 12 months. Now let's just get some T's and C's out of the road. This is a teaching segment, and each week I like to either feature the new moon, the full moon, or we look at a psychic subject. It is not a time where I give away complimentary or free readings. If you want the opportunity for that, you need to tune into my previous show here on Facebook Live just prior to this on A1R Psychic Radio or on Moonstruck TV, where I do give 2 complimentary readings away each week on that show, which is slightly different from this one. This is a workshop, this is a teaching series where I teach you to work with the moon cycles and other psychic areas to improve your life, hopefully helping you to sort of become more in tune with yourself and the direction and take more control and ownership over your life. We are all responsible for what happens in our lives. We can't really blame everybody else when things don't go quite the way that we would like them to. So also I'd like to share with you that I don't give shout outs during this presentation because I'd lose my focus and concentration of what I'm going to talk about, but I'd love you to leave your name and a comment and where you're from and how the weather is in your neck of the woods, and I will reply to you personally in the next 48 hours. I will not under any circumstances answer questions that don't relate to the topic at hand, and this week I'm pleased to say we're discussing the new moon in Aries. That's our workshop this week. So yes, I'm happy to answer any questions that relate to the new moon in Aries, as long as they're not personal about how it's going to affect you. But if you have a question about when the new moon happens and why does it happen and how did we decide which energy it's in, I'm happy to answer all of those for you. So let's get the workshop underway. As I said, my name's Amanda Hall Psychic. I've been in the psychic industry here in Australia for over 40 years. I've won a number of industry awards over the years, and I've been inducted into the Psychic Hall of Fame. So, and one of my passions has always been working with tarot. Astrology comes a close second, but I've always worked throughout my career with candles, and that's been something that's been very close to my heart. And it was a few years ago now I decided to sort of bite the bullet and engaged an artisan candle maker to make me a range of soy candles, which we now produce here in-house. But it was also the opportunity to be able to bring to life what I've always worked with, what I've always believed in the magic of working with candles, and particularly soy candles, which are eco-friendly, and we use lead-free wicks and things like that, that to be able to sort of design a candle that was for a specific purpose that would enable you to focus all your energy on that particular change or that particular thing that you're trying to enhance in your life was really exciting for me. We started out with one candle. We started out with a tarot candle to complement my Simply Tarot set. And I'm now proud to say we within 6 months, we developed 28 candles in the range. So we have something for everyone. So this week we're going to be working with the new moon in Aries. Now, what does a new moon mean? Look, lots of people talk about when they're going to wash their crystals or when they're going to put them out under the full moon or this moon. I'm not a crystal person, so I'm sorry I can't answer your questions on that. Yes, I respect them and I appreciate them, and I have a number of them myself, but I'm really not an expert on when to put them out under what moon cycle and when to wash them. I tend to do it intuitively. If I sort of feel that they need a bath and I need to take them to the salt water, I do that. I listen to what my instincts are telling me. I know that's probably not the sort of words of wisdom I should be sharing with you, but sometimes when you don't know something about something and you haven't done enough research, or haven't studied the subject, I think you need to just follow what's in your heart, what intuitively you feel is right for you. And that goes for many areas across the psychic industry. A lot of people sort of ask me the question, how can you develop your intuition? How do you know when it's intuition? How do you know when it's not wishful thinking or something that you just want to bring into your life? General rule of thumb with that is that if it's your first thought, if you go to sort of buy a new car and your first thought is, no, I don't like that one, but the salesman's telling you it's a great deal and I've got a good price on it and a great color and it's the last of this model and you're going to get all, the bells and whistles extra for $300 more, and you think, oh, well, maybe then I should buy that one. But your instincts or your first reaction was, no, this is not the one for me. It's only then that logic or reasoning talks us in or out of that decision, and we tend to ignore our first thought or our first feeling. Now, our first thought or our first feeling or our first introduction to whatever the situation may be is our intuitive voice, and that's what we all need to develop. So even if you sort of write it down, put down how you felt about it, whether you felt it was right or wrong, or whether you felt comfortable with it or you didn't, and then put it away and go back to refer to it again at another time. You can do this with simple things in your life, so you can start to see the pattern of how right you were, and that also helps you to develop your own natural intuition. Now, why am I bringing that into a new moon in Aries workshop? Well, I think because it's the new astrological year, I think we can all venture out there and practice something new. And this week, I'd like to see you sort of start to really develop your intuition. Now, for most of us, we've already been through the beginning of the calendar year in the beginning of January, where we all had this wonderful list of New Year's resolutions and things we were going to achieve in our lives and what we were hoping to do. We were all going to suddenly get really physically fit and go on a diet and do this and do that. And, that all sort of lasts for a week, 10 days, 2 weeks at the outside, maybe really a month if you're really motivated. And then it's sort of, life gets in the road and something else, and all of a sudden we've forgotten all those things that we were going to do. Well, this is, I suppose, in a sense, like our second chance. But I want to look at it as not necessarily resolutions. I want to look at it as new potential possibilities that you can bring into your life. Now, when we talk about new things coming into our life, they don't always have to be major life-changing events like changing your job or moving house or eating better or whatever the case may be. They can be simple, small things. And sometimes it can be as simple as wanting to make your life less stressful. And in this very busy, very competitive life that we all seem to live, and we're all so time poor, and if you watch the television commercials on the TV or you listen to them on different forms of social media or see things, it's people are always talking about our lives being so busy. These days people don't apparently have time to read, so we've got to get these new devices that we can listen to while we're jogging down the street to get physically fit with our green smoothie in our hand. And we've got these things in our ears, and we've got the condensed version of the latest book, so that we're up to the minute with what's going on in the world. And I think to myself, are people really that time poor that they can't take a few minutes out to sit down, still their mind, and enjoy reading a book, whether it's a paper book or whether it's on an electronic device? But have we really got that far and out of ourselves that we're that goddamn busy that we can't take 10 minutes to start reading a book? I think there's something to be said for that. I think it's the perception of the world that we're all so busy running from hither to dither that we don't have time to do anything for ourselves, and everything's got to be done in this fast track, speedy sort of way, that nobody has the time to learn or comprehend something properly anymore. Well, that also fits in with the Aries energy, because the Aries energy is about me first, is about high octane energy. It's about getting up off the couch, wanting to do things, wanting to get them done in a hurry, and all these sort of things. But it's also about brilliant ideas. It's about new ideas coming into your mind. And it's interesting because when I was sitting down thinking about it last week, about what would I put on my little list of what I want to bring into my life in the new moon in Aries. And I was really stuck to think of some things to begin with, because I sat down and I thought, well, there's really nothing in my life that I can think of that is brand new, or something that I'm working on that I'm not sort of a fair way into it, that it's past the new or the beginning stages. And I thought, isn't that interesting? For the first time in my adult life, or in my whole entire life, I can't think of something that I'm aspiring to that isn't already in the works. And I thought to myself, well, maybe that's a good thing. Maybe that's a sign of that, I've been able to achieve what I've set out to do in my life. And, things of, as they are with all of us, things that were important one week all of a sudden aren't as important next week or 6 months' time. And, they evolve and change, and we put other things down on our list that we'd like to bring to us. And I thought, well, the most important thing that I can put down onto this in a new sort of way is that I'm looking to find new and innovative ways to maybe be more at peace with myself. And I thought, well, even though I feel very peaceful and I feel that I'm very calm and I'm very much in control of where I feel my life should be heading, I just sort of felt, well, I'd put it out there that maybe there might be something new that I'm unaware of, that could cross my path, that could enhance my journey, could enhance my psychic ability, or could enhance my health, or could enhance my life just generally. So that's what I've put down on my list, instead of putting down, oh, I'd like to achieve this, or I'd like to bring this towards me, or whatever. So maybe find what it is that you're looking to bring into your life. Is there a new project that you're trying to get off the ground? Is there a new book that you want to write? Is there a new conversation you'd like to have with someone that you haven't had before? So, there's always new things that we want to attract in our lives. I like to work in series of 3 minimum, 3 new things I'd like to attract in my life, and maybe 3 things that you might like to let go of, 3 things that might have been important 6 months ago, 12 months ago, that were brand new ideas, but since you've explored them and looked at them, you think, no, they're not for me. I think I'll cross that off the list. So sometimes I think it's important also to release them, and physically release them around a new moon, because we're sort of, we've got new things coming in, but the way that we've made the room for these new things is we've let go of some older things, or things that no longer serve our higher self or our purpose. So it's important to sort of give them the acknowledgement too, and release things. So the new moon in Aries is a time of great excitement, great enthusiasm. For a lot of people, you might be finding it difficult to sleep at the moment, because you've got so many thoughts and ideas running through your mind, and your energy levels are very high. It's also the time too, with the Aries energy, if somebody is going to get a viral type of infection, it can come on very quickly. It can be a high fever, and it can leave just as quickly. Now, I want you to be aware of this. If something like this happens to you, it is usually our way of finally purging or releasing it on the physical. You may have worked really hard over this last 12 months of releasing things out of your life that you feel that no longer serve you, letting go of hurt, just sort of having a good general clear out of how you approach things, and what emotions you hold on to, and what you let go of, and some of the things that you say, well, I can just put that over there because there's not going to ever be a resolution, but my resolution is I'm not going to allow it to affect me anymore. Well, all those things that we release do need to come out on the physical. And a lot of people sort of think I'm strange when I say that, but I'm a firm believer in it's got to be released on the physical, whether it's with a fever, a sore throat, a toe ache, a headache, or whatever. It's got to be released. And with the Aries energy really ruling the upper teeth, the head, fevers, all those sort of things, anything to do with from the upper teeth up. So it can be a time then of, as I said, very high fevers, no matter what your star sign is. So just be aware of that. If you get sick, give yourself that luxury of time of going to bed, resting, letting it come out of your system. If there's a high fever, take something to reduce it, and just allow yourself to go through that. And sometimes in those times like that, where we've got a high fever, we get some brilliant answers. I don't know why, I'm not a doctor, but I've just noticed it's something that can happen to us, that we get, some really strong information coming from our intuitive selves. And I suppose it's because we're still enough that they can get through and we take notice of it. So going back to the new moon in Aries. So the new moon in Aries is going to be on the 5th of April. So I like to work in 7-day cycles as I work with the energy of the moon. So I will be working with the new moon from the 3rd. So 2 days leading up to the new moon on the 5th, and then 3 days of the new moon. So that's 5, 6, and 7. And then I allow another 2 days for 8 and 9, the wind down of the new moon. So I'm looking at a 7-day cycle. I always work in a 7-day cycle because we're on the approach, we're there, and then we're on the decline. So if you work on that level, you understand then that you're giving the new moon plenty of energy. We're giving it a lead in time, we're giving it when it's at its most powerful, and then we're allowing it to decline and gracefully exit our lives. So we're looking at working with candles over the 7-day period. I want you to write 3 lists. We've spoken about what to put on your list. So it's 3 new things you'd like to bring towards you, or 3 things that you're currently working on that you feel need a little bit of a boost in energy. And I'm saying write 3 lists because we're going to use 2 candles and we need one to be able to read out aloud as we're sort of lighting the candle each day. So if we're working on the 3 things that we're bringing into our lives and the releasing of 3 things or the removing of 3 things out of our lives, we go to read our list out. We pop one list underneath the candle. We put the candle on a coaster, never directly on the furniture, because the glass container can get hot, but the actual soy wax doesn't get hot. So we go to light the candle. We work upon the score as we're lighting the candle. We read out what's on our list. Now, I want you to make sure that you're reading this out with great intent, that you really, really, really believe in it with every fiber of your being, that this is exactly what you want to draw to you in your life. You want to draw it to you now. You're prepared to work for it. You're prepared to listen to any intuitive messages that come to you or flashes of genius that you're going to get, and you're prepared to work with that. You're not necessarily going to argue with it. You'll write it down. You'll thoroughly research it, and then you'll make your final decision at whether or not you're going to implement that into part of the regime to achieve what you want to achieve. So with my extra large candles, there's 2 wicks in them. I like to light one side one day and the other side the next day. That just gives you a longer burn time, and you'll get approximately up to 100 hours out of our extra large candles using that method, provided of course you don't pop them under fans, air conditioners, near open windows. Always keep them away from children and animals. And remember, you are working with a flame, so you are working with fire. Never leave a candle unattended, no matter how safe you think it's set up. Always make sure that you're sitting with the candle when you go to burn them. So then I would also be working with my fire sign candle. This is the candle that represents Aries, Sagittarius, and Leo. So again, the same sort of principle, working with popping your list underneath it and all that sort of stuff, reading out aloud with great integrity and intent of what you're trying to attract in your life. Now, when you're working with candles, I want you to work with the score of burning your candle for 15 minutes to 2 hours a day. Now, most of us can afford 15 minutes. You've read it out aloud. You're sitting there staring into the flame or flames of the candle. Keep going over in your mind what was on your list. Have a pen and paper handy in case something comes into your mind at that time. So you can be using this time of staring into the candle. You've read out aloud your intent, your purpose and direction. You can allow this time to be your meditation time. So we're multitasking here. We're writing, we're putting out to the universe the energy that we're working with the new moon in Aries. But at the same time, we're doubling this up as our meditation time as well. So in our very busy times, that allows us to multitask and do 2 things at once. Yippee. So 15 minutes minimum, 2 hours maximum for the 7-day period. For those of you that don't have enough room to be burning big candles, can I suggest to you our gift box set? You can make them up with any 3 candle combinations that you want. This week I've made them up with 2 fire signs and a new moon. You could make them up with anything that you like. These will burn for approximately 15 hours each. Same principles apply. For those of you that don't wish to work with flame or feel that you can't do that because of safety reasons, can I suggest still purchase your candles, but also purchase a melt warmer. You can pick these up from your local supermarket, about $15 here in Australia. These are electric. You take 2 teaspoons of the soy wax at the beginning of the week. Each day you add another half a teaspoon of soy wax to them. You turn them on. You can, you have your little list, write it out aloud, pop it underneath your melt warmer, putting that on a coaster. You can leave these going in your home or your office all day, and they are a much safer alternative to burning flames. I work with these a lot because I don't always have the luxury of time of sitting there for hours upon hours on end with a candle, but I still do work with my 15 minutes every day. But I also work with the same energy in my melt warmer, so that I've got the fragrance going through my home and my office all day, so that I'm re-intensifying what I'm attempting to bring towards me with the energy of the new moon this week. And I also have a second one that I burn when I'm when I'm working in my psychic work in my office, where I have my protection wax in that, and I use that as my point of focus as I'm getting ready for my day, that I put my melt warmer on and I stare into the wax as it's melting as my meditation. So it's very important that we protect ourselves emotionally and physically and psychically when we're doing this sort of work as well. So the new moon in Aries is always an exciting new moon because it's the first new moon in the astrological year. I like the Aries time of the year because to me it sort of signifies, bright, positive things that are going to be happening. I just want to deviate a little bit before we wind up this workshop, because we've had a very, very powerful Mercury retrograde this year. Mercury retrograde will complete its journey on the 4th of April. So the day before the new moon is at its strongest. So it's really a nice time to be sort of saying Mercury's winding down, going direct, and hallelujah. It has been a very difficult Mercury retrograde. We've had Mercury in Pisces, so he's worked on 2 levels. He's really sort of toyed with everybody's communication. We've had smartphones and laptops and people not having their listening ears on, and people getting angry and aggressive because they think they heard one thing and it was actually something else. But for a lot of other people, it's been a very difficult time on the emotions, because being in Pisces, a lot of things came to the surface. Things that they thought that they'd let go of a very, very long time ago came back and haunted them. And it's like, why is this happening? Because he was in Pisces and it's the final sign of the zodiac. It's like we had to bring everything to the surface that was really obsolete. Things that should be going into the trash bin really had to be brought to the surface and looked at, and sometimes looked at and said, well, what on earth did I keep that for in my memory flick, and it's sort of like a real clear out. So even though we have different Mercury retrogrades, and it happens 3 times during the year, some of them are a little bit more powerful than others. And this one seemed to affect a lot of people this time. I had lots of messages relating to this. Now, can I clarify something? A lot of people that go on social media and things like that have seen all different things, that Mercury was starting on this day and Mercury was already out of retrograde over a week ago. Can I just share with you my wisdom on Mercury retrograde? Now, Mercury has a period before he goes retrograde where he is stationary for up to 4 days. Then he goes into the retrograde or the backward cycle. Then he also stops and goes back into a stationary period for up to another 4 to 5 days before he actually goes forward or direct again. Now, in my experience as an astrologer, and I've been working with astrology for over 30 years, we need to consider the first day that Mercury goes in the stationary position as the beginning of the retrograde. And the retrograde does not finish until Mercury has gone forward or direct again. So when he stops at that stationary period after being retrograde for up to 5 days before he goes direct again, he is still under the retrograde process. So for those people that saw that Mercury went direct again a week ago, he did not. It is the 4th of April. So that's the reasons why it takes, between 2.5 to 3.5 weeks for a Mercury retrograde. It's not something that's over in 10 days. So please, next time that there's going to be a Mercury retrograde, make sure that you check out your facts. Make sure that you take notice of somebody that you believe is a good astrologer and they're giving you the correct dates. Otherwise, you can sort of think, well, Mercury's gone direct. How come I'm still having all these communication issues? I've read it 15 times on social media that he's gone direct and I must be doing something wrong. No, maybe the dates are wrong. So until next week, I hope you have an absolutely awesome week. And don't forget to be kind to each other and try and help each other through the difficult periods. If you want a private reading from me, you can head to my website, www.amandahallpsychic.com.au. And while you're there, join our free newsletter and you can get a complimentary astrology chart. And when you're at the checkout, don't forget to type in the coupon box in capital letters Facebook, and you will receive a discount that goes right across the board to all our readings, all our astrology readings, our products, anything that you can purchase or join in on amandahallpsychic.com, you will get that discount. It goes right across the board to our candles, our jewelry, our readings, astrology charts, courses, everything. So there's no exclusions. We do offer free postage here in Australia, but for our overseas family, we offer a flat fee, which has been reduced in the last couple of months by nearly 40%. So that makes it a much more cheaper option for you now. It's a flat fee. You can put as many things in your shopping trolley as you like, and you will only pay that one fee. So until next week, next week we'll be talking about the sun in Aries. So that'll be very exciting. Till next week, have a great week. Bye for now.